I have the iPhone 16e, but I bought one for my aunt. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys the reasons why I got that phone for my aunt and the reasons why this iPhone 16e is not for us, but for someone else. The first reason is because of the long battery life. Apple was able to make this iPhone 16e's battery life as long as the bigger phones, let's say the iPhone 16 Plus, which is really impressive. This is not only for people who can use the phone longer, but also for people who want a longer battery health. That is the health of the battery that is going to degrade throughout the years when you're using the phone. And with a smaller battery, of course, it's going to drop a lot faster. So for a normal average person who doesn't consume a lot of like social media or like entertainment or use the phone a lot, a normal person like my aunt will enjoy the long battery life for a longer period of time, if that makes sense, which is great because a lot of the users who doesn't need the highest spec from a phone usually want to have a phone that can last for a couple of years. With the iPhone 16 or 16, like the smaller phones with a smaller battery, usually if you charge the phone every night, the phone battery will need to be replaced after, let's say, 3 years or 4 years. But with the bigger battery inside this iPhone 16e, I assume that the battery health is going to last longer than a lot of the other iPhone models. That's why not only the long battery life, but also the longer battery health will be the biggest reason why I got this phone for my aunt. The next reason is storage size. This is really, really important for a lot of users, especially for people who are not tech savvy, who is not able to back up their like photos and videos like easily using like other services like Google Drive or whatever. With a bigger physical storage, because of the money that you save by having a cheaper phone, you can use that money to buy more storage. I got my aunt a iPhone 16e 256 gigabyte because I told her that like she shouldn't get the lowest storage size, which is still ridiculous because like 120, like 128, it's like nothing in these days. I told her to get the middle one, which is a 256. By having that, they can store more photos and videos in the phone instead of having to worry about having to back up the phone, back up the photos and videos somewhere else. So with the money that you save, you can buy a bigger storage phone. Even compare to the iPhone 16 or the iPhone 15, you're still saving money because I know that the iPhone 16 will, it's $200 more with the same storage size. So the money that you save, you can buy like a higher tier like storage size. So that is a really, really important reason why you should get this phone for a normal user. The next reason is the latest software update for the next couple of years, let's say 5 to 6 years. Usually Apple is really good with that. Even if they're not updating the entire operating system, they will still give you security updates, which is great. So with a phone that is going to have longer battery health, that I assume will also get a longer software update like than a lot of like other brand names phones. So that's why with this like battery health being capable of keeping up with the software update, which is amazing because like a lot of times like a lot of users, if they have like shorter battery health, they usually have to replace their battery even before they end the software update like period. So it's an amazing thing that Apple can actually match the battery health almost to the software update period if like I assume the battery health is going to be longer that way. The next reason is also related to the performance of the phone, which is the A18 chip. That is a really, really fast chip. It's also available in the iPhone 16, 16 Plus, and it's only lacking one GPU core, which I don't think people will buy the iPhone 16e for a lot of like graphics intense work or gaming. So people are not going to realize like how like it performs differently compared to the bigger phones or the more expensive phones. So this is a really, really good thing that Apple is doing. I was actually hoping that they will put the iPhone 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max chip. I think that's the A17 Pro chip, if I'm correct, into the iPhone 16e because that one also supports Apple Intelligence, and it's actually like pretty good because I'm also using iPhone 15 Pro Max. So, but with the iPhone 18, I mean the A18 chip, it's still going to be really, really fast for a lot of people for the period of time that they're going to use the phone for, which is a couple of years. Okay, let's talk about the camera system. Yes, it only has one camera at the back, but that is totally fine for normal users because most people I know when they're using an iPhone, like in the past couple of years, which every single iPhone has like dual or like triple camera system except the iPhone SE. They don't really tap onto the optical zoom anyway. They usually use their fingers to spread and zoom in and out, pinch to zoom out. So it's not really a big deal for them because they don't really know like that the telephoto lens exists, and that is the reason why the single camera system on the iPhone 16 is totally fine for them, because they're not going to be like, oh, I'm missing like a optical zoom. No, they're not going to realize that. And with the 48 megapixel camera on the iPhone 16e, it is still nice enough for people to capture the moment. As a photographer and videographer, I think the photos that make me the happiest is usually just whatever camera, whatever phone capturing the moment. The moment is more important than the quality of the photos or the videos, like unless you're doing a client work. So for a normal user, they're not gonna notice the difference. They're not gonna care. They're not gonna pick on the photo being like, oh, why is there like so much noise in low light? So they're not gonna realize like the difference. So who cares? For them, the single camera, the pinch and spread your fingers to zoom in and out is good enough. One thing about the camera that is a little bit not as good is because it is not the ultra wide one, so you cannot zoom out if you need to, because like a lot of people when they're taking photos assume if they have used an iPhone before, they'll be like, oh, why can't I zoom out if it's too tight? But the single camera on the iPhones, they are usually wide enough. I think they're like 28 millimeter full frame equivalent. So they're looking at like something like what you're looking at right now. So it should be wide enough for a lot of situations, but that's just too bad that they don't have an ultra wide angle camera on the iPhone 16e. In terms of the advanced photo and video modes, like the cinematic mode or like portrait mode using like better technology, again, I don't think a normal user would care because a lot of times like they don't even know that those modes exist. I've shown a lot of friends that like, hey, your phone can do like portrait modes, your phone can do like cinematic mode for videos. They don't know. They didn't know. They didn't know that their phone can do that. Like I would say like 70-80% of the people that I know, like they don't know that those modes exist. So it's really not a big deal. And a lot of the features, like the advanced photos and video modes, they're okay. They're like computer generated like images. So it's not perfect, and I don't think people are gonna like fiddle with those advanced modes just to get the photos and videos look like perfect or in whatever like professional ways they want, because they're not going to use the phone for professional uses, most of them at least. So even for myself, I don't use those modes I don't even use those modes to be honest with you, except like portrait photos mode because it's getting better. But cinematic mode, I never used it on my iPhone 15 Pro Max, so I don't think it matters for a normal user. Okay, no Magsafe. Yes, this one is kind of weird because like a lot of people were saying like how expensive is adding a magnet in a phone gonna cost, but it is what it is. A lot of people, if they are just trying to get a budget phone, they're not gonna spend the money to buy a Magsafe charger, even if they're buying like a third-party one, because like it's a separate thing that you have to buy. Yes, they still, I don't get why they don't include a charging brick in phones anymore. But they're not gonna really care because a lot of people, they're still used to charging their phone with cables, and it's fast, it's the way it has been. So it's not going to be a big deal that they don't have MagSafe charging capability. But MagSafe accessories, it is going to be a little bigger deal because I've seen people using a lot of MagSafe accessories like wallets and stuff, but they are able to add that MagSafe capability back by using a MagSafe case. So that's not a super big deal. In terms of fast charging, the phone can last longer. So I don't think they need like super fast wireless charging. Again, I'm talking about a normal user who doesn't need to use the phone like for intensive work. So yeah, no MagSafe, not a super big deal. Okay, that's it. Those are the reasons why I think the iPhone 16e is not for us who watch YouTube videos about like new phone releases. We get excited for new phone releases, who are into like phone specs and who wants the latest and greatest. The iPhone 16e is not for us, but it is for a normal user who just want a phone that can last like longer throughout the day and who can like that can last longer throughout its lifespan. So I think the iPhone 16e, yes, it is more expensive than the SE, but I really don't think Apple should make like a super like tiny phone like the previous iPhone SE, because my mom had that phone and the battery life is not that great. So with a bigger battery, longer battery life, I think they have done the right thing to make the iPhone 16e. Yes, it is not the best phone. So yes, please, like, don't like blame on me saying that like, oh, like you're just saying that because I got one for my aunt. But no, I just think that it is a good phone for a lot of normal users. And with people who want the latest and greatest, we have the iPhone 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max, even the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus. But the iPhone 16e, I think, is good for a lot of the people who just need an iPhone that can last longer. And if you guys have any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Or if you bought an iPhone 16e for yourself or for your family members or for your friends, let me know down in the comment section below as well. It is just me sharing like my thoughts and my reasons why I got that phone for my aunt, and I hope she'll like it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.